I didn't bring my screwdriver set with me that I'm using to remodel my own house, because just like the last unit where I probably needed a respirator because of the mold, I didn't expect to need things like screwdriver sets and mold respirators while traveling, because I expected the Airbnb houses and apartments to already have been repaired if they needed to be repaired before I rented them. I wonder what that is. I'm in the Starbucks drive-thru right now, taking a video of some kind of interesting church. After getting messages from the Airbnb host all night, I left this morning and I tried to force the door to close. I grabbed the doorknob, pulled it as hard as I could, slammed it a few times, and it did close, and it cut my finger. This is where the doorknob jammed my finger, my thumb right there, into the door frame and cut it. So I went downstairs. There were parking spots, but I decided to go get a cup of coffee because the coffee machine in the apartment is questionable, and I also have to go print out my concert tickets and do one more thing. So I'm going to try to do those things and then go back to the apartment where there will hopefully still be parking. I'm getting messages from Airbnb offering me a refund, but that would mean I'd have to find another place to stay, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be talking very quietly because Eugene is still asleep, but I need to give you an update about what's going on with Airbnb and with the problems with this apartment. The host came over last night, very late last night, only a few minutes before midnight, and this is after I had sent her several messages saying, my family is going to sleep, can you please just come over in the morning? And she'd sent me messages back that were like, oh, but I'm at Target right now, 5 minutes away from your house, getting the things you need. So I finally agreed to let her come over, and she showed up with like 4 brand new towels and 2 little sets of washcloths that probably need to be washed before they're used. And she seemed to acknowledge the problems with the door, and she claimed that she rented out several other units in this apartment building, and there was a maintenance man who was constantly fixing the doors because the building shifted and adjusted because it's an old building in California, and that's reasonable. But I did explain to her that the door could probably be fixed even with just a screwdriver. She said she was going to bring one, and she did not, so we were not able to try to fix it. But, I didn't bring my screwdriver set with me that I'm using to remodel my own house, because just like the last unit where I probably needed a respirator because of the mold, I didn't expect to need things like screwdriver sets and mold respirators while traveling, because I expected the Airbnb houses and apartments to already have been repaired if they needed to be repaired before I rented them. But anyway, she came over here and her attitude was like horrible. For example, when I told her my boyfriend put his beer on top of the fridge to try to keep it away from our child, and then when he opened the refrigerator door, the beer fell down, hit the stove, and landed on the floor, and it could have hit him, it could have hit our kid, it could have broken. She said, and I'll try to mimic her tone, and you weren't gentle with the fridge door when you closed it? I then went over and I said, look how much it wobbles. Even if you just open and close the door, stuff falls out. Something just fell out right then, people. What fell? Oh, it was some of these rice cakes that I bought at the Asian market. They fell out. But yeah, first of all, this door is actually very hard to open, so you can't open it gently. See, if I try to open it, the whole fridge rocks. It didn't open until the second time I pulled on it, and it really rocked the fridge. So obviously the fridge is feet aren't adjusted right. They probably could be adjusted very easily, but I didn't bring my forklift to lift my refrigerator up because I can't lift it up with my own body strength, so I could adjust the feet. And so the woman starts messaging me after she leaves here and saying things like, I looked at the door and it was fine, and we agreed it was fine, and the fridge was fine. And I messaged her back and said, wait a minute, I'm not agreeing in writing that everything was fine. You looked at the door, you agreed it was broken. You told me that you would send the maintenance man over to try to fix the door and the fridge tomorrow. Nobody agreed anything is fine, and I'm not going to say that in writing. Then the messages started taking on a nasty tone. She started saying things like, well, I don't really want you in my house if you don't like my house. I'd be happier if you were happier somewhere else. I then started getting messages from Airbnb themselves saying that they had informed this lady that she had to give me a refund if I canceled my reservation. I actually told her to stop sending these messages. I said, you know what, it's past midnight. I'm trying to sleep. I'll call you in the morning, but the message continued. So I have, therefore, called Airbnb, confirmed that they will actually definitely either reimburse me or make this woman reimburse me. And they said they would. They sent it to me in writing. So I'm booking another place for the next 2 nights on Airbnb. It's supposed to be in this neighborhood. It's supposed to include a parking spot for that apartment in a lot. It's supposed to have a laundry machine and a dryer and a kitchen and even a swimming pool. But the bad news is they say they're not going to refund my money for a few days because it's going to take a few days to process. So I'm going to have to cough up $400 more. I feel like I'm taking like a major risk here running these Airbnbs. I feel like I'm just like gambling with my money because you never know what you're going to get. And what you're going to get could be like crap. They didn't give me my money back. When I rented the one that was like soaked in cat pee, they said I didn't complain in time and all of this stuff. That's why when I got here and I noticed there were problems and I decided that they were severe enough we couldn't stay here, I complained right away. The reason I didn't complain about the moldy one is because it wasn't like unlivable to me due to the mold, although it would be unlivable to like a normal person who hasn't like lived in a moldy house and basically become desensitized. And it was like actually really nice in there. The only thing wrong was like a little bit of moldy smell. And it was like livable to us for our needs for a few days. We were able to like be in there without getting sick from the mold and live in it and use it for our needs. So I didn't complain about that one like right away when I noticed the mold and be like, oh, we have to move. We have to have our money back right now. We found this mold. I also didn't know the full story. I didn't know if the homeowner had been scammed by a bad contractor or chosen to rent it out that way. I later found out from the neighbors she'd chosen to rent it out that way. I'm going to deal with that situation differently, mainly just by making it public. A few of the neighbors that talked to me about that place actually said something really weird. They said, do you know how to turn her in? Could you turn her in for us? Like, maybe they're upset that the house was remodeled incorrectly. Maybe it smells like mold in the neighborhood or something from that house, or maybe the Airbnb tenants have disturbed the neighborhood, but the neighbors were like adamant that I should complain, and that was really weird. It makes me wonder what that person did or their tenants did to like piss off the neighbors that badly. I'm not trying to be very obscene saying things like crap and piss off, but my child is at least currently asleep right now. Oh, but I've got to tell you one more thing that's just hilariously funny, about as funny as the decorations in this apartment. One of my questions to the host for this apartment was that the listing said there were laundry facilities, so where were they and how do I use them? And she said, and I'll try to mimic her tone and stuff, oh, there's a laundry machine downstairs. It takes $0.25 to use it, But you know, just around the corner there's another laundromat down the street, and I like to do my laundry there because I can do it all together. You know, there are two things that are really weird about what she said. One is the laundry machine downstairs takes a quarter to use. I highly doubt that it costs 25 cents to do a load. And she likes to take it down the street so she can do it all together. And she kind of like raised her hands like this and like kind of made these like together motions with them as she said it. Like I said, it was really weird. I was given the impression that maybe there was only one laundry machine downstairs the whole building used, so you couldn't do all of your laundry all together at the same time. But both of us kind of had a feeling that there was like something seriously wrong with the laundry machine here that she didn't want to tell us. So I'm going to go check it out. Now I'm irritated. I went through the process of booking another place, another apartment here in this neighborhood on Airbnb, and I went through the entire process, confirmed my reservation and everything, and when I got to the last step, it said confirm and pay. I clicked confirm and pay, and it said the listing was no longer available. Like, when I started the process of reserving it, they didn't like stop allowing other people to reserve it, so somebody else was also in the process of reserving it at the same time, and they apparently clicked through all the buttons faster than I did, so they got it and I didn't. That's insane. That's not how it's supposed to work. That's taking it a little bit too far. When somebody actually makes the request to book and their request is accepted, how can it go away? The guy accepted my request to book his place, and then it went away, and now it's not listed anymore. Leading me to, I guess, assume someone else rented it, or maybe he decided at the last minute not to rent it to me, and he declined his acceptance of me. I don't know. I'm just horrified. Just absolutely horrified. What a scam of a company. Airbnb has booked me into another rental, but they have also absolutely, completely embarrassed me, because after like 5 hours on the phone with various different representatives explaining what was going on, I told one of the representatives that the fridge here never got cold enough and our fish started rotting in the fridge. And I was like, the fridge is full of rotting fish. We really need to get out of here. Can you please get us into another place right away? And I had tried to book like 5 different other places, and there were problems with all of them. One of them sent me a message saying that the host himself hadn't been confirmed by Airbnb yet. They had to confirm him. Another one sent me a message saying my child was too young. They only allow children over 12. A few others disappeared in the middle of me booking them. Finally, I found one I could book, but the host wasn't responding. So the Airbnb representative agreed to call the host and explain my situation. Pretty soon I got a phone call from a person who I thought was the Airbnb representative, who said, "We're going to send you the instructions to get into the unit right away. Please tell us what's going on." So I started to reiterate about how the fridge was full of rotting fish and how I was desperate to get out of here. And the guy said, "But I don't understand why you're angry at me, because I only first talked to you 5 minutes ago." And I said, "Wait, who are you? Are you the Airbnb representative, or are you the host of the new place?" It turns out it was the host of the new place, and the representative had mistakenly given him the impression that I was angry at him and that I had like a fridge full of rotting fish with me. So he thought that I was angry because I wanted to check in early with a fridge full of rotting fish. So I just had to have the most embarrassing conversation I've ever had in my life, explaining to this stranger that no, I wasn't angry at him, and no, I wasn't showing up with a fridge full of rotting fish. I was going to leave it at the place that I was currently renting that they were trying to get me out of. Anyway, it was absolutely, completely embarrassing. I've got to go assist with Eugene because we're trying to pack up all of our stuff now, and Eugene's really actually upset because he likes this house and doesn't want to check out of it now. That's a remote control, but I don't know what it is for. It doesn't work for anything in here.
No, it works in here, but...
Well, I couldn't get it to work in here for anything. Anyway, I've got to go. That is the current embarrassing update. I have good news. We are now finally leaving this awful Airbnb apartment and checking into another one, which hopefully will be better. I will show you the condition of the apartment and a few things that are still wrong with it. Hello, why are you here, Eugene? Where's Daddy? You have to go down there with Daddy. We're leaving. Now that I have encouraged Eugene to go down the stairs, I will show you the condition we're leaving the apartment in and a few of the things that are wrong with it. That I forgot to show you earlier, like electrical wiring that's been painted over. That's common in old apartments, but still dangerous. And over here, you can see that I cleaned the kitchen and washed the dishes. And you can see that at one point a cat sprayed here. There are little drops of pee still there where it wasn't completely cleaned up. And cat urine, because when the cat sprayed here, it soaked into this piece of paper towel. It was never changed. That's why it's yellow only in the front, people, because the cat sprayed. It went like up here. Somebody like wiped it all around here. They missed like in the crack a little bit and a few dried on dots. I unfortunately know this from cleaning up cat spray from my own cats. There's another little drop of it, most likely. This would be a really beautiful apartment if it was only properly maintained and safety issues like the wobbly fridge were fixed. Here's where I cut my hand when I forced the door to slam this morning from the outside. So here it is. We're leaving it just like this. There are the 3 towels that were here when we checked in. We didn't use them. We only used the hand towels. And there are the new towels that she gave me that I didn't use because they have to be washed before they're used. The beds are relatively clean. I slept on top of that one without even lifting the blanket off. Eugene slept here. My boyfriend slept there for a little while and then there for a little while. And that's it. And I think that's a raccoon statue, not a cat. But there is a dog statue over there. Anyway, one more thing about this apartment is that there is something that this apartment's bathroom has in common with how my bathroom in my house will look when it's done being remodeled. I will also have a drop-in tub, which is what this is, with tile in the front and along the sides. So, remember that when you see my new bathroom, that it will look somewhat like this in the area where my bathtub is. Not exactly like this, of course. There will be a lot of things different, but it will be somewhat like this. There's Batman and Wonder Woman. Eugene actually really liked this apartment. He watched TV. It took a really long time to load. We were only able to watch things on Netflix, but once it played without skipping or anything, which my Netflix does at my house, which is very annoying. So we had a good time. And one more thing about this door, you can see it's leaning to the left on the top, leaning to the right on the bottom, and it's locked. And difficult to open, much more difficult to close, and it's only because the hinges need to be replaced. It's actually a good quality solid wood door, probably old. Maybe it could be repainted to where somebody tried to break into it, could be sanded down and repainted. These might need some adjustment, but this door just needs some adjustment. And the Airbnb host blamed it on the management company and owners of the building. Funny, because this was on all the doors this morning, so now I know who that is. I wonder what they'd think if they knew that this woman was like renting apartments, saying they were for herself, subletting them on Airbnb in dangerous condition, and blaming it on them. They probably wouldn't be too happy. Anyway, I am now leaving. The lady took half of the lockbox yesterday. She took the back half, left me the front half, under the mistaken belief that I couldn't close the door because the lockbox was on the handle. That wasn't the reason, as I explained to her last night. So I guess I'm going to leave the key in here and lock the door, but then if I pull it closed, it might cut my hand again. My boyfriend might have to walk up from the car and close the door for me. He'll probably be really irritated. I might try to force it closed this one more time. I hope I don't cut my hand again. I want to show you one more thing in this room before I leave this room, then I'm leaving. This drawer, I tried to open it to see if there were towels inside it, and it went off kilter and it hit the table. And now it doesn't close, you have to push it over there. Oh yeah, one more thing. While my boyfriend was using the toilet, he hit his head on that corner right there. So not a great shelf placement for tall people. Anyway, we are now leaving. Bye, see you at our next Airbnb. I hope it is better than this. This looks good from a distance, but once you get up close to it, it's not so good. That air conditioning unit also smells really bad. The smell was like nearly keeping me awake last night. Anyway, bye for now. We are now driving out of this neighborhood. It's a kind of cool neighborhood with the park. The highway is right on the other side of that wall. The road is very dry. I need to take a sip of this coconut water because I can barely speak. But we are driving out of this neighborhood, which is very interesting.
Oh yeah.
I guess it could be considered to be kind of the ghetto, but it seems like a nicer part of the ghetto. I mean, there's a park where you can take your kids to until very late at night with ice cream trucks and other kids for them to play with and stuff.
There was some guy selling ice cream just like right there on that corner.
Yeah, there's a few places for rent in this neighborhood. Just make sure you get a rental with parking, or you have like a bike or something and not a car, because parking in this neighborhood is very difficult. It certainly doesn't seem like the worst place to live.
A lot of people might say that where we live is worse. I would say it might be worse. Oh yeah?
And here's the main road. So you'd be that close to the main road if you lived in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised.
Alright, now I've got to get directions to the new apartment in another neighborhood, so stop recording. Luckily, that Airbnb was not actually where we came here to go.
We're only 2 miles away from the Hollywood High Grade. Can we stop down the way?
Although I am disappointed.
What the guy doing?
What guy? Oh, I think those guys are fixing cars, putting tires on cars. As I was saying, I am disappointed that I'm not going to get to check out this area, which is the area where I was going to be staying, not going.
It was on Santa Monica Boulevard.
What was?
The Hollywood High Grade. I see the Hollywood sign.
Oh, cool. I see it too.
Hey, let's go.
There it is. There's the Hollywood sign. We're going now.
We go to Hollywood.
He wants to go to the Hollywood sign, he said.
We can't even see it. It is,
I actually
some kind of
missed a
palace.
turn. That's a church. Because I was videotaping, and it's a good thing. The highway is like literally not moving. We're gonna take local roads. Videotape now. See that? It's a church.
No power. Why the power?
Looks like the one from Aladdin.
Alright, stop recording, please.